I'm here with Simon Bachmann from
Hello.
IDUN Technologies. And first of all, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I'm very excited to hear your thoughts on neurotechnology. And also, I mean, you're sharing so much with others right now. So walk me through your company, your message, and your vision.
Okay, so the vision, I'm going to start with the vision. So the vision of our company is to make brain sensing or brain health a reality and bring it out of the lab, because that's where it was constrained for the last 100 years or so. And the means to get there is bringing brain sensing into a form factor that us humans are using every day, which is earbuds. And this requires some engineering work, some creativity to use cases that are meaningful for human beings, you know, when it comes to sleep, productivity, music, which is obviously a very emotional thing. So it's been a great journey so far, basically building this in-ear EEG device and collaborating with companies like Analog Devices that we are announcing a partnership with here at CES.
And so when it comes to like earbuds, that's something a lot of people are familiar with. These look a little different.
Yeah.
So tell me what it looks like and the reason for the design.
Yes. So one of the, I think, fundamental challenges that you have when you do brain sensing earbuds is, for brain sensing, you need to have a physical connection between your two electrodes, which means that if you want to measure from one ear to the other, you need a physical connection between both. However, if you look at the user behavior and what they're mainly buying is what is called the true wireless stereo headphone. So the whole industry at the moment is working on moving from wired designs to wireless designs. But this will introduce a lot of challenges on the signal processing side, because then the question is, is the data you get from this design sufficient enough to do these meaningful applications like sleep and productivity? So another aspect that we have been focusing on for the IDUN Guardian 4, for the audio development kits that we're announcing, is its minimal shape. It needs to be very elegant and small, because we want to show the world that you can do brain sensing with a very elegant device. It needs to be consumer friendly and mass market adoptable. And the other thing is we have been focusing on more organic shapes, because it is more comfortable and it also feels, less techy in a way. And this is something we have had great responses with so far.
So it's almost like you want people to maybe forget it's there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, my co-founder used to use this term, the forgettables instead of wearables, because that would make a very strong device if it's measuring your health, but you don't feel that it's there, because there is inherently a trade-off between the comfort of a device and the signal quality very often. So this is, it's actually right. So this is something we're aiming for.
Like you said, the comfortability, like if it's not comfortable, if I know I'm wearing it, then it's a problem, right? It's something that I want to forget that's there. And I do know that a lot of times when we're talking about sensors and knowing what's going on in here, sometimes people get a little nervous. So what kind of questions do you get from people curious to know maybe how their data is being used, what can you figure out their thoughts, things like that?
I think it's very important for us in this industry to do customer or user education, and it's important to show and tell what can be done and what can't be done. And we're still pretty far away from reading thoughts. You can think about it as mental states. So you can detect if a brain is distracted, or if it's focused, or if it's tired, if it's drowsy. So you have certain states. But if you look at the temporal resolution, this doesn't change 20 times a second, which is what you would need if you read thoughts, right? You would have a much higher resolution, which is necessary. So if you can read something like a person is tired, you have two options. You either give this information to the user and you let them do something with it. So for example, change your behavior, take a break, go to the fresh air. But you can also choose to passively let this information influence the lights in the room or the music they're listening to without them realizing consciously that they're tired. And this is what I think is really interesting with brain-computer interface. You have many different possibilities to use the data in a way. To address the concerns on the neuroethics was a topic on the panel today as well. I think there's very practical ways to do that. We have been working on a concept which we call the brain data vault. So basically, and this is a concept that has been mentioned a couple of times from other companies, so I'm glad to see that others care about this as well. Basically, think about this device holding the data that you're recording, but it's just on the device. And then you can decide to share this data with other apps or with us to do model improvement. So this is, I think, a concept that we will probably see more and more in the future. And then the other thing is, as I mentioned, we as a company want to be pioneers in neuroethics by doing things like acceptable use policies, holding our partners accountable for what use cases they use the technology for. And we've had companies we said no to. And the other thing is the partner rubric, where you're trying to understand what are the values of the company you're working with. And obviously then it's way easier to be invested in a collaboration with a company that shares the same values.
I want to know some more about the announcement.
Yes.
Too. Tell me more.
Yes. So we have been very lucky and I think honored to be contacted by Analog Devices because they were interested in partnering in the brain sensing earbud space. And Analog Devices is using a component which is very powerful for our endeavor, because with their component we have a massively smaller power consumption, which means that we use less battery, which means that we can use a much smaller battery for the same battery life, which, coming back to the comfort and miniaturization of the device, is very, very important. And at the same time, obviously the signal quality, the functionality of this device. You have to think of our journey as starting out with a very shaky prototype and then kind of going more mature with every generation. And the one device that we have announced at CES today is the first one that is capable of doing brain sensing but also delivering audio to the user. And I think I can't overstate how impactful that is, because for the first time you can use this device as an actual earbud, like it's intended to be used, but it's also measuring your brain activity at the same time.
That's incredible. I wanted to also talk about this space though,
yeah,
because there's a lot of ideas being shared. So tell me about the importance of being in an environment here at CES, in a NeuroTech room.
Yes.
Who all is coming together? The reason that you're so excited about this.
Yeah. I think the NeuroTech market is still unique because it's so nascent. It's so early on, specifically the consumer NeuroTech market. I believe that the 10 most advanced companies in the NeuroTech space, I have the phone number of all the CEOs, I can call them, we can talk. And when I come to CES, they're all here. And I honestly believe that in this room today we had probably most of the decision makers and drivers of the consumer NeuroTech space, and I'm hoping that in 5 to 10 years these innovations here are massively impacting users' everyday lives, and I'm convinced that that's going to happen. So I feel very humbled and honored to be kind of part of this group. And we're from Zurich, from Switzerland, in Europe. We don't have that many NeuroTech companies there. A lot of it is happening in the States. So whenever we come here, there's this abundance of ideas, news, things they've learned. So for us, it's always very valuable to have the dialogue.
Where does it go from here?
So we secured a $2.5 million grant 3 months ago, which, thank you, which is very good for us because first of all, it's not easy to get funding at the moment for many companies. Second of all, we just announced Gen 4. This grant will help us to go to the next generation, which is a true wireless stereo design, as we have been talking about. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Sorry about that. So we have the possibility to use this funding to go to the next generation, which I do believe will be the airport equivalent of brain sensing. And with this, we have the possibility to massively shift the risk-reward profile. And I think it's going to help us, find further customers, further funding. So I think it's a very good time for us in our journey.
Thank you so much for talking with me. Is there anything else you want to mention or anything I forgot to ask?
So if you're at CES, then obviously visit us in the convention center and do the demo with us, give us feedback, let us know what you think. And if you're not here, then get in contact with us on our social media channels. And I would be very, very delighted if I learn more about what the listeners and viewers would like to have, their lives improved with this technology. I think that's always the most fascinating thing to learn. So that would be very nice.
Simon, thank you so much.
Thank you too.